welcome to the fourth installment of this poetry video series. Let's see, it's taken me a little while to get back, just because of the beginning of the semester and a lot of other things happening. But now I'm here, and I'm here to share four new poems that I've been working on as of late, and I hope you enjoy them. Anyway, this first one is a sequence of haikus, and it's entitled Written by a Resident at the Elderwood Village, Vestal, New York. Now, this is not to be a slight on any of the workers or the staff there. It's just more of my mother worked from the Office on Aging in Southern Maryland for 16 years, and at the very least, a lot of what she saw and various assisted living and nursing homes was absolutely deplorable. Like I said, I'm not saying that the Elderwood Village in Vestal, New York falls among these assisted living or nursing homes, but nonetheless, it definitely influenced a lot of the poem that was to come. So, but anyway, let me just read it and you can come to your own conclusions. Written by a resident at the Elderwood Village, Vestal, New York. 1. Winter snow glistens in the trees, raw nerves exposed to crippling cold. 2. My face aches with frost, my arms sway under the weight of fresh snow, new woe. 3. No one makes a sound in this frozen orchard, ice, a bitter harvest. Yeah, there's some times where I like to do what they call persona poems, and this definitely is not me, the author. This is more of like I said, a resident who would reside at the Elderwood Village, and maybe some of what he or she is experiencing. And once again, this is not to be a slight on the Elderwood Village or anyone who works there. It's just simply more of some of my observations about how we treat the elderly in America in general. Now, this next one is called A Dream Log from 2020. And I don't know about you, but 2020 was a very difficult year. There was the pandemic that was going on, and which is still going on today, regardless of what certain news outlets would want people to believe. And like I said, because of that and a lot of things that were compounded thanks to the COVID-19 outbreak, like I said, it was a tough year. And I think some of that comes through in this current poem that we're discussing. A Dream Log from 2020. The same lake every night, the same rowboat crashes into a pile of reeds. A shadow leaps from the hull and races into the woods, its arm decorated with stars, or what appear to be stars. Maybe they're eyes that are always open, always viewing the landscape as an omniscient God. Why did I bring divinity into it? Maybe there are no stars or eyes lying in the shadow's arms. Perhaps it's all dark. I'm not too luminous either, on this pier staring at a non-existent moon, though people tell me a moon is there hiding. Where are you, moon? I come to this lake again and again, seek something I can't put into words. I might be making this all up. I am making this all up. What am I among these currents which shed water only to dawn it again? The whoo of an owl permeates the trees. I spring up only to sit down again. And of course, I couldn't help but think of Pink Floyd when I wrote the one line, perhaps it's all dark, referring back to the end of Dark Side of the Moon. And like I said before, 2020 was indeed a very difficult year for many people. In fact, I would say for the vast majority of humanity, since a number of people were in lockdown or in various forms of lockdown around the world. This next one is called A Comment on Family Architecture, and it's just also some of my general observations about humanity in general, and particularly about the nuclear family unit. And I think there's been some discussion in various circles particularly from a more socialist bent, saying that, among other things, we're going to have to go back to an older way of dealing with family matters. And I think what they're referring to is where it wasn't just the nuclear family, but it was a number of different, not just family members, but friends who are living alongside each other, who are helping to caretake and take care of children and whatnot. It seems like it's very 19th century, turn of the 20th century kind of living arrangement. I only think the nuclear family, as we know it now, was coming into its current shape back in, say, the 1940s, 1950s. And yeah, so this is a comment about that. A comment on family architecture. Subtract the windows, curtains, doors, leave the frame. This is what you're left with. An open house. Who knew something so empty would be filled with such darkness? I am the sun responsible for casting shadows. No, the shadows were already there. I was just a magnifying glass for grime. So, you could interpret that poem as you will. And this final one is one I was actually working on earlier this morning. It's entitled Mid-Morning Ablution. Now, just a note about the title. I was trying to find a term that was close to absolution. And just keep that in mind as I read this poem, and whether that absolution actually is taking place or not, or maybe in a way that the narrator doesn't quite intend it to happen. I drop my iPhone down the toilet, marvel at how free my hand feels. I depress the lever, imagine the flood I'm about to unleash in my house. I don a yellow rain poncho, replete with black galoshes. I climb into the rowboat in the middle of my living room, swipe the air with the oars. As the toilet continues to choke on the marvels of modern technology, I dream of rowing down a river, untouched by the hands of men, the voracious fingers grasping for oil, minerals, other bodies that don't want to be touched. I open the curtains and peer down at the dry land below, hope for a lake to swallow roads and houses alike. The toilet in the bathroom falls silent. I rise from the hull of my boat, check the insides of the toilet bowl. The phone is nowhere to be found. The floor remains dry, unscathed by the blue soothing skin of water. I stand in my rain regalia, useless vestments in a structurally sound house. And you could sort of tell there's a little bit of humor creeping into that last one especially. But, I don't know, if anything, and if anyone who's watching this is a fan of the band Primus, it sort of reminds me of a lot of their earlier work, up to, say, Tales from the Punch Bowl. Because when you hear a lot of Primus's older stuff, it's like, okay, I want to laugh, but should I be laughing at this? And it's sort of a quality that also is embodied in a lot of the work of Flannery O'Connor as well. So, and that's what this poem really reminds me of. Not that I'm trying to relate myself to either Primus or Flannery O'Connor for that matter. But it just, once again, it was sort of that, I want to say sardonic humor, if I'm using the term sardonic correctly. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed these recent poems of mine. And the next video, I'll also be doing a poetry review of this book of poems by Vietnam vets that my dad gave me. So, anyway, I hope all is well, and I shall see you soon.